Ruger LCR, trench warfare. On the road above the trench, actually. Love the LCR though, love the trigger, the ergonomics, the hoe grips are excellent. Granted, they're made of rubber, might grab clothing if you're doing a strong side carry. I'll talk about that in tabletop. Finally, a clean run with it too. Let's go check paper. All right, nice. That's the LCR, 11 yards, running gun. Tabletop review, Nutnfancy style, on the Ruger LCR snub nose 38 special revolver, model number 5401. It is 2011. The gun came out a while back, and to be honest, I was really doubting whether I was going to review it. Not that I have time and energy to review everything that comes out. I don't, probably never will. But more importantly, I'm not easily impressed. You know, when the LCR came out, all types of folks were, commenting on the channel, dude, you got to review the LCR. It's the coolest thing. And again, I'm just like, maybe, maybe not. I just don't know. I mean, I've been around guns my whole life, tactical trends my whole life. I've seen so many at one time or another being highly touted, the greatest thing. And then a couple years down the road, they're nowhere to be found. They just did not survive in the marketplace. And that's what they have to do. They have to be commercially successful. They have to sell, and they have to sell every year. Otherwise, they're just not going to be around in the years to come. I didn't know if the LCR fell into that category or not. And more importantly, I didn't know if it offered any real advantages over very other proven and much beloved revolver designs when it was introduced. So I set out to learn, as I often do, on the object and see what the story is. Yeah, I saw a bunch of guys talking about it. Yeah, this is awesome, but I still have to learn for myself. I just don't hitch my wagon to groupthink and off we go into the sunset. That's not how it works in TNP. March to my own drummer. Let me say this. Here it is, 2011. Ruger LCR is commercially successful. I think it will remain commercially successful for the reasons I hope to impart to you in this Nutnfancy tabletop review, probably the most thorough you'll ever find on the gun. My points of view, my data points, for lots of the reasons I'll discuss. And I'll tell you this is one of the funnest, most enjoyable snub-nosed 38 special revolvers I've ever had the pleasure of shooting. A total riot. If you guys watch the videos coming out in the Nutnfancy project, sometimes that gives you a clue to what's coming up. A while back, I don't know, a month ago, I posted a run and gun video on the Ruger LCR. I'll make reference to that as the video progresses for a good reason. I'll tell you why. And that is kind of laying the foundation for this tabletop review. LCR. Jumping into it. Philosophy of use. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I've done so in my other snub-nosed, revolver reviews. Primarily for most people, CCW, CCP, concealed carry option. Some guys just love, gals for that matter, love the revolver. It's simple to load, it's simple to operate. You don't need a magazine. It is a self-integrated design. Okay, a lot of folks love that about the revolver. We'll talk about firepower here in a second. I think this is an outstanding option for a concealed carry permit holder. It is. But it's only 38 special, Nutnfancy. If you hit what you're aiming at, it'll do the job. Great CCW choice. How about a home defense gun? I wouldn't recommend it in that primary philosophy of use because there's no way to attach a light. I think you should have a light on your home defense gun. Integrated, not separate. That's just the way I look at it. You should have a full-size revolver too. That's easier to shoot. Why do you need something so small and lightweight? These are harder to shoot. I would go something bigger. Auto, revolver, lots of good options. Probably an auto because they have integrated rails more readily. How about a backup piece for a police officer? You bet. It is definitely small enough, compact enough, and light enough to function in that philosophy of use. You're a peace officer. You want something simple. Pull the trigger, goes bang. You can shoot it within or inside of clothing. In other words, you don't have a reciprocating slide to get caught up and fouled up in fabric. The LCR, great option. Great option. Another philosophy of use, recreational. Wow, I don't know if maybe I did say that in my Smith & Wesson 638 review and the others I've done. This is a recreational option for me because it is so pleasant to shoot, at least with standard pressure loads. You know, you rock on with loads like these Starfires, those are 125 grain plus Ps. Yeah, it's going to rock your world a little bit. Still doable though. If you are a handgun individual, have some experience, you won't have any issues with it. I'll talk about maybe that and I don't know, ergonomics or something. That's philosophy of use. Maybe second type of cool, you just want to collect it. Nah, it's a using pistol. I think there's some other cooler options if you want a collectible pistol. Let's talk about the key features of this though. In philosophy of use, I'm also going to say design. One reason the Ruger LCR was so highly touted, lots of hype, is because of its groundbreaking polymer / aluminum design. I'm a big fan of any time we can lighten the gun up. By the way, I'm pointing at the camera, not me. Camera is completely separate from my head, so no dumb comments, please. Thank you very much. Lightweight is huge in the philosophies of use for concealed carry backup piece. The lighter we can make it to a point, the better. Here we go, 13.6 ounces for this one, and then by way of contrast, previously reviewed, still very highly recommended in the Nutnfancy project, Smith & Wesson 638, a little bit heavier at 14.4 ounces. At least wearing these crimson trace laser grips. Also available for this gun. By the way, this is a model I'm going to recommend to you guys. The 38 Special model. But Nutnfancy, the LCR comes in a 357 Magnum. Why would you not review that? Again, we get into that weird dynamic of where the latest product introduced is the best. That is not necessarily true. You know, look at the philosophy of use. Size and weight are critical. That other one, let's see, the 357 model 5450, a little bit heavier. Not hugely heavier, but about 3.5 ounces heavier. That's one reason. 3.5 ounces is substantial in a handgun of this size. Yes, it will make 38 Special and probably 357 more pleasurable to shoot anytime we can add mass to a handgun. That is a function of physics, right? More importantly, though, is most people cannot shoot a 357 snubby accurately. And I'm going to emphasize most. I'm talking even experienced handgunners. Remember, in the Nutnfancy project, for the last 3 years, I've been shooting like a lot. The ammo bills that roll in every month in TMP, at least when I'm heavy into shooting. Sometimes I'm heavy into backpacking and knife stuff, but when I'm shooting, I mean, they rock. I mean, they're substantial. You're talking thousands of rounds getting sent down range. I go with a lot of people. Some are on camera, some aren't. Some don't want to be on camera. I have a wide cross-section of shooters of all different experience levels. Usually, if they're going out with me, they're going to be good shooters. And I will tell you, anytime I've seen someone shoot a snubby, even with 38 Specials, they pretty much suck. I mean, they can't hit like, I'm saying a 10-inch circle under stress at 7 yards reliably. What? There's no way, Nutnfancy. I'd be so much better than that. Well, maybe you would, but probably not, statistically speaking. You up the ante to a 357 in a handgun of this size, under stress, good luck. Plus Ps, forget 357s. You load these Starfires in. And by the way, Starfire's an okay round. It's just handy. I just throw it on the table. I don't want you to think, oh, that's his favorite load. There's so many good loads out there. Golden Saber by Remington, awesome load. You know, Hornady, XTPs. I could go on and on. I'm just throwing that out there for visual, I don't know, interest. You throw those in and it becomes harder to hit with the LCR as well. It's more blast, more recoil. My point in saying all this is if you go with that 357 and you're committed to running full power 357 loads, do you even know what you're getting into? Seriously, can you even hit your target? Who cares what you're shooting? 44 mag, 357, 45. If you cannot hit your target, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to throw that out. I recommend you get the 38 special one. You train with standard pressure 38 special once in a while with plus P's. Plus P 38s for the intended role that I threw out there, the POUs, more than adequate. More than adequate. And you're going to have your hands full, literally, of trying to connect with that. It takes a special skill set to be good with a snub revolver. I said that in this review, right? Almost expert to be good with it at anything beyond 7 yards. Even 7 yards vexes other people. I should say all people. Me included if I'm not practiced. If I jump on a snub, you haven't shot it for a while, I suck too. It's a skill set. You got to practice with it. It's hard. That being said, you go, well, I've read, American Rifleman, The Armed Citizen, and other great magazines where they talk about defensive encounter. Snubbies have, killed, injured a lot of bad people. That is a true statement. And the reason why is because they're a contact distance. Probably 3 yards, maybe face to face. And the snubby in there at can't miss distances is where it excels, by the way. Talking about philosophy of use. Contact weapon. Close quarters, simple. Pull the trigger, no safeties, nothing to forget to snick off. You bet. And that generally is where you're hearing the snubby, including guns like the LCR, being effective. It's very close distances, which statistically speaking is where they happen anyhow, right? All right, but I like a little bit more for my weapon system, whether it's a revolver, whether it's a semi-auto. I want to be able to connect at 15 yards, for instance. That's a reasonable distance. You should be practiced and capable of hitting a 10-inch circle, maybe even an 8-inch circle at 15 yards. We'll talk about that in accuracy. I got to cruise, otherwise this is going to go way long. Okay, innovative design. Aluminum frame, modular fire control components, no side plates. Very interesting. I'm all interested because it results in a very compact form, especially in model 5401 at 13.6 ounces recommended. Stainless steel sleeve in there. What type of stainless? They say 1714 stainless. I don't even know what that is. It's probably good. Cool, narrow cylinder. More narrow than J-frames of Smith variety by a very small margin, but a little bit more narrow. Heavily fluted, nice gray finish on there. And the quality that they use, or I should say attention to detail they use in manufacturing the LCR is very impressive. For instance, the cylinder pawls are matched for each gun. They're computer matched, this portion right here. To minimize final fitting and to speed up the production line, but it also results in a very tight gun with tight tolerances. All through the manufacturing process, my understanding is the LCR is tightly controlled. Titanium forward pin here, cylinder pin there. That's kind of related to recoil, so it won't unlock. Hardened steel bushings for the firing pin. For the cylinder pin here, the finish on the gun is what they call a synergistic anodized polymer finish. It's supposed to be awesome, pass all kind of military spec tests. I do like it. It is not impervious to scratching or nicks, however. Check this. In TMP testing, it has several nicks, and this is not with multiple, holster presentations a little bit. I mean, you saw the running guns. It's getting used, but it's got nicks all over it. And they say you can touch it up with like aluminum black or something. Whatevs. Check out the front sight. Kind of jumping out of ergonomics to sights. I love the sights, actually. They work great. Once I highlighted that front blade. What did you use, Nutnfancy? Sight paint? No, I did not. Sight paint sucks. It's not bright enough. First off, before I tell you my technique, you can interchange that front sight off, which is cool. Got a little roll pin. You can drift it off. Novak makes a tritium dot for it. Hi-Vis makes a green and red fiber optic front for it, which I think would be outstanding. So that's an excellent option, and it beats the J-frame in that. The J-frame, you're stuck unless you do some very creative gunsmithing. What did I do? I painted it. This is what I use. Testors paints, dudes. put down a base of flat white paint, about 3 coats, let it dry, about 12 hours between each coat, put down about 2-3 coats of this fluorescent red. That's all you need, man. If it wears off, redo it. You can see it looks great, lasts a long time. I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm not going to swap the front side on this LCR. Just going to rock it. Looks good. As far as the construction design, yeah, it's groundbreaking. Monolithic 7000 series aluminum frame barrel assembly. I could get a lot more technical, but that will suffice. 1.28 inch diameter cylinder. That makes it a little bit easier to carry. And transfer bar system, of course. And some guys don't like that because of this. I didn't like that at first either. It has to be loose to function. The transfer bar, of course, comes up when we fully depress the trigger and allows firing of the cartridge. It's a safety mechanism. Groundbreaking. What it results in is a durable, well-made, lightweight, compact pistol. That's the bottom line. That is size and weight efficient. It only has 5 rounds, however. I've talked about this in other reviews, and I'm not going to really harp on it. I'm not super duper fond of just 5 rounds. And I have to be honest, that is why I primarily do not carry a revolver as my gun of choice in my capacity as a civilian concealed carry permit holder. What do I carry? Well, generally speaking, in a Galco Classic Light holster. Seen it thousands of times in TMP, Kel-Tec PF9. Has more rounds, 8 plus 1. More narrow, just keeping it real. Quicker to reload, faster shooting, just as accurate, if not more accurate. Probably easier to shoot for most people. Kel-Tec PF9. However, 5 rounds will get the job done if you can get the job done. If you are good with the fundamentals, trigger control, breathing control, this gun will put the rounds where you want them to. It really will. 5 rounds is enough for most social purposes. I will say most, definitely not all. But then again, we've talked about this in tabletop. Once you're out, can you reload under stress? I don't know, can you? It's a skill set once again. And I showed that on camera in the Run and Gun Trench Warfare Series. HKS Speed Loader Model 36 fits your LCR. I'm going to jump. This will be a little ergonomic thing. Come down here, twist, shake. They go in easily now because these are anodized dummy cartridges, but when you're looking at lead exposed cartridges and you're rushing and you're under stress, like I show in the Trench Warfare Series, a little bit more difficult. And also, my buddy and I who went out shooting this, he doesn't want to be on camera by the way, he noted that he had a real difficulty clearing these Hogue Tamer grips with that. There's a little ergonomic jump ahead. I myself didn't really see an issue with them. I was able to put the cartridge in without too much interference and get back to shooting. We're talking about firepower, getting your LCR back into action, reloading it. Yeah, you probably want to get good with a speed loader, whether it's an HKS, maybe the Safariland Comp 2, Comp 1, both of which are also excellent. You know, get good. Generally speaking, most people will not be able to do that. It's going to be 5 rounds and then they're done. Reloading it under stress is going to be hard to do. That's why I said what I have in the past, probably a good backup gun. Enough said on that. Accuracy. Guess what? On accuracy, I'm not going to roll in paper targets. I've already shown you what the gun is capable of doing in my trench warfare runs. And yeah, I posted another one. Actually, it's uploading right now. So look in the upper right, and I'll annotate the vids, and I may roll some footage in right now. I come away after shooting under a medium stress level, the Ruger LCR, is extremely impressed with the gun's capabilities if you can stroke the trigger correctly. That is, if you can stage the trigger. And by that I mean, you just don't snap pull that trigger, because with a 13.5 ounce gun you're going to throw your sights off, you're going to miss your target. If you watch how I shoot, you will see me staging the trigger. I'll pull it about 3/4 of the way through, spending time with the last quarter of the pull. That's how I connect at 25 yards with a 38 Special snubby on an 8-inch wide target. There's your accuracy. 25 yards with a snubby? Yeah, 25 yards. It's actually further than that. We measured, it's like 27 yards on that miniature torso plate. Whacked it. And then 15 yards oblique, 20 yards oblique. The LCR was rocking and rolling. And, you know, I love the trigger, ergonomic jump ahead. The trigger on the LCR is amazing. They spent some time with it and made it nice. Out of box, the Ruger LCR trigger is the best of any compact revolver I've ever tried. Lots of technical details that I could spend airtime on. I won't. Bottom line is there's less friction on the hammer dog more specifically, and the sear compared to other designs. Results in less friction. Very smooth double action trigger pull. About 9-10 pounds. It feels like a lot less with the Ruger LCR. And again, that's what makes that accuracy so doable. I've talked about that a lot, that I love good triggers, and it's mostly related to, one, accuracy, being able to put rounds on target, especially under stress. I'll talk a little caveat here. And then also for rate of fire, more related to probably tactical carbines, semi-autos. But again, we don't want the trigger too light, because then under stress we can accidentally fire it, just like many police officers have. I think the LCRs is just about right. The accuracy of the LCR is outstanding. If you want to know more specifics, look up some other sources. Generally, I think American Rifleman, which I think is an outstanding review publication, said they were getting like 3.5-inch groups at 25 yards, which again is amazing. I couldn't do that. I'm more, once I go to run and gun, that's when I can do my best work. You know, from the bench, my eyes, resolving the target through these sights at 25 yards, I doubt very seriously I could have matched 3.5 inches. Just couldn't. Great accuracy, ergonomics. Love the Hogue grips. Love them. No intentions whatsoever of getting rid of them, even though they're made of rubber. And rubber grips on a CC dub gun can cause problems, because if you decide to carry this in the waist, they grab clothing. That is a bad thing. If we go to the Crimson Trace grips on this model 638, this is a harder plastic, more preferred, yet it still gives some good grip. It does not, however, give the same recoil mitigation that these do, especially with the aluminum backstrap exposed. On the Hogue Tamers, getting back to the very reason this is such a fun gun to shoot, there is a blue gel insert in the backstrap that helps absorb recoil, and you have a space to help mitigate recoil. Big word. And they're comfortable. They're stippled. I love the Hogue grips. I never thought I would have. Don't swap them off if that's what you got. But I want to run the Crimson Trace. Well, I also think Crimson Trace grips obviously are excellent. I think that's a great choice as well. You are going to lose that softness in shooting. And by the way, the aluminum and polymer frame does a bit to soften it up as well. It does. So I like that as well. And a lot of people have commented on that. Hey, it's a really soft gun to shoot. I'll agree. It really is. I love the Hogue grips. I talked about the cutout for speed loaders. I don't think that's a showstopper. You could, if you want to, it's going to look like crap. You could Dremel it deeper, so you'll have more relief for your speed loaders, whatever brand you decide to go with. Talked about the sights. They're not adjustable. I find it shoots point of aim. Now, some of my guys, the dude I went out, he was shooting with, he was like, hey man, this is shooting off for me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't blow smoke at my crew or anything. If I see that they're screwing something up, I tell them, I was like, no dude, it's you. It's you. It's shooting point of aim. You know, for me, and also this gun was shot by some other dudes as well at Impact Guns. I tried to find that footage, can't find it. Shot point of aim for them. It's pretty much right on, which is a huge plus for this gun, because if they're not, you're screwed. Great sights. Talked about interchanging on the front portion there. Ergonomically, the dude I was talking about that shot with me, he bloodied his finger up on the cylinder latch. A problem that I have not heard about. It totally did not happen to me, and I think it gets how he's gripping the gun. You know, I grip like this. I'm not really sure how he was doing that, but he was probably like that. And because I'll roll in footage of where he bloodied himself up with, I don't see an issue with it. He was saying that he would bevel that down. Just a little data point for you. Trigger reset. Another thing guys have talked about. You're gonna love this. Another thing guys have talked about the LCR, and this is true. Okay, empty gun, of course. It's okay to dry fire your LCR. It even says it in the manual. Okay, it won't reset until you fully release the trigger. And I don't know. The reason I'm laughing is because it is like the in vogue excuse as to why you suck. Well, I wasn't used to the trigger reset. I have heard that on some TMP shoots several times. And I don't know about you. I just don't even think about it. It's just, yeah, release the trigger, fire. I mean, are you trying to fire from here? Yeah, that's not going to work. Release. So I don't see a problem at all with the reset of the LCR. Just release and pull. It's, marksmanship fundamentals. I've seen guys say that. You've seen it in some other videos. I don't want to mention names. Yeah, I just wasn't used to the reset. That's why I missed. No, you missed because you suck. That's why you missed. You were jerking your trigger. Your breathing was off. The fundamentals. All right, ergonomics overall are excellent on the LCR. I don't know what I'd change. What do you change? I love the trigger. It's steel, not polymer. Trigger guard is good. It's rounded, comfortable in hand, points well, balance is excellent. Moving on, field strip and maintenance. It's easy. I mean, it's a revolver. The only thing I've always said, it's more difficult to clean. You got, multiple holes to clean. Whatever. One thing I do want to make you aware of, if we go into the manual of the LCR, it does make mention of some interesting stuff that kind of surprised me, is they want you to lubricate the hammer pivot pin every 1,000 rounds. They show you exactly how to do it. You remove the hoe grips or whatever grips you got. You'll push that pin in just a little bit, apply a couple of drops of lubricant, swish it around, you're good. And also they remind you to keep these things tightened. Fire control housing screw, crane pivot screw, that's this one right here. Keep that tight. And you see a little chip on that surface there, just like I mentioned. Maintenance is simple. And I understand this gun is way durable. Jumping down to track record a little bit. 10,000 rounds with no ill effects. One guy was saying. 10,000 rounds? I think that was Ruger. They shot at 10 grand. No problems. Wow. Seriously. Field strip maintenance, simple. Accessories. What kind of holsters are available out there, Nutnfancy? Good question. And I think, again, getting back to the commercial success of the gun, lots. Go to, I think it's shopruger.com. You'll pay a little bit higher prices, like $5 more per holster there, but they have a really good selection for LCRs, and they're going to fit. And many of them are wearing the Ruger logo on it, which is kind of cool. Some of the holsters I looked at, haven't tried, but at least not with this gun and other guns I have, is the Galco Tuck and Go holster. Excellent. The Galco Stow and Go holster, I've used that with the Glock 26. I like it. If you're in for or wanting inside the waistband carry, Galco Ankle Light. I'm not a big fan of ankle carry. If you are, that's a good option. And they have several belt options there, which are excellent. They do not have this one, the Classic Light, in an LCR. And no, the J-frame holsters will not fit because of the change in the trigger guard design. It's different. Speed loaders available, HKS. You can go with 5-star brand, Safariland brand, whatever you want. They even have, actually, speaking of holsters, an ugly Phobos holster out there that I really don't like. It's just ugly, not recommended. That's about the only accessories you would need for your LCR. Holster, way to carry it. Belly band, of course. Several good belly band options. Slower, but remember, first rule of the gunfight, have your gun with you. Where are we at? Versatility, by the way. That's kind of POU. I covered that. It's a recreational gun, too. Amazing for a snub. Value. Pretty good, actually. And another, how shall I say, benefit of the LCR, its groundbreaking design, and the tremendous sales that it has generated, is that I think it provided a lot of competition with this gun. The Centennials, the Airweights by Smith, and the prices of these have come down to compete with that. Good job, Ruger. That's what, I still love this gun, by the way. Yeah, good job. So the value, I think, for what you're going to pay for your LCR is totally worth the money. I love Ruger. They do so many things right. So many guns are done correctly. Yes, they have bobbles in certain guns. We've talked about them on camera. No company is perfect. All of them will have that. The quality is amazing for what you're getting. Durability and reliability. I already said it. 10,000 rounds? That's not what I have through this gun. I'll tell you, though, I have a good ballpark in here. 300 to 400 rounds through it is what I have, which is a lot for me, ammo cost, and 2 for a little snubby. That's a lot of shooting. and I haven't cleaned it at all. As you can see, it's still wearing the carbon on the front of the barrel, and no reliability issues at all. The only thing I had in the trench warfare run is I did not close the cylinder all the way. So I did a little number like that, and you may have saw that in that video, and then I just had to smack it. Timing seems perfect on it. You know, the cylinder tolerances, I'll show that. You can see the air through it, very tight. Again, getting to that attention to detail in the manufacturing process. My understanding is they don't have to do a lot of hand fitting because it is so squared away. And that's what I want. I like handcrafting. I like CNC better. That way it's very consistent. I can always count on it. Track record is amazing so far. I don't hear a lot of negative things about the LCR at all. I think it's going to continue to be a great seller. And if you can, get your hands on one to just shoot it for fun. And with standard pressure 38 specials, and tell me in the comments if that is just not the funnest snub to shoot. Mainly due to the Hogue Tamer grips probably, and the polymer frame. Ruger, great job. Love the LCR. I think it's going to enter into an all-time Hall of Fame gun. I think the sales will remain high too. I was at a gun store the other day and I saw some used ones. Like, usually you don't see used guns in the gun counter unless people, for whatever reason, just didn't, I don't like them. You know, I think they just couldn't shoot them well. You probably will have to practice with it. Huh, imagine that. A snubby is still an expert's gun, even the LCR. I shouldn't say experts, an experienced shooter's gun. Practice dry firing with your LCR. Safe direction, safe direction, but practice, you know. Practice staging that trigger. Don't waste ammo. See, I pulled through on that one. And then you'll find you'll do so much better. And start at close distances. Don't put the targets out there at 15 yards to begin with. Start at 5 yards. Get good. Put them all in a 5-inch circle, whatever size you think is appropriate, and then move your target out. It's going to take ammo, it's going to take money, it's going to take time. Welcome to the world of gun ownership if you want to get good at it. Highly recommended. That's the Nutnfancy review. Ruger LCR. See ya. Love it. Love the trigger on the LCR. I love the ergos. I like the Hogue grips. They're rubber, so they might catch clothing in a concealed carry POU, but really lightweight, comfortable gun. I really like the trigger on it. You're going to shoot most accurately with this thing when you stage it. On those misses, I wasn't staging. I was just doing a pull through. That's why I missed on that tiny little target. That's a small target. That's 10 yards. That one on the left is 25 yards we were shooting at. From that point over here, that's a hard hit with a little snubby. So far so good. Love the gun. It's awesome.